Hi, everyone. My name is Todd. I'm the program manager for the Business Administration program. Just going to sort of organize myself here and give everybody another second or two to come join us. So just sit tight, and I'll just be back. Okay, if I can just get someone to do me a quick favor and just send a little note in the question box, just to let me know you can hear and see me okay. Just somebody just put a little note saying, yes, all good. Thanks, Jara. Nobody else needs to write. Jara just confirm. Thanks, William. Great, great. Okay, cool. Well, it's 11 o'clock. We may get a few more people joining us, but I thought I would at least start to just to be sensitive for your time. So, as I just said, my name is Todd Rich. I'm the program manager for the Business Administration program. I am not an instructor, so I won't be getting into too much content information about your course that you're about to start or the other course in the program, but my hope is to sort of share some information about the process of learning online and obviously then show you Moodle. But my role as a program manager is to manage the whole program. And really my goal is to make sure that you guys are successful as you go through your studies with us. So here's a little bit of the actual agenda. As I said, I'll go through a couple of slides just to give you a sense of how to be successful in an online course, some of the things you can expect. I'll talk a bit about what happens at the end of the program. I'll kind of pause for a second, do a quick little Q&A on what I've talked about so far, and then I'll actually go into Moodle, which is our course management system, and I'll show you the course, and I'll kind of give you a little tour around so you can kind of know where to find things and how to look up things, and then obviously we'll do a Q&A at the very end. All right? Excellent. So just a quick little housekeeping item. I am recording it, so if you need to jump off, don't sweat it. I will send this to everybody after that's in the course or in the program. And obviously, if you have any questions along the way, please send me a quick note, and I'll be happy to answer them. I'll probably answer them more towards the end. Let me just go and make my questions a little bigger so I can see them better. Okay, perfect. I've got a couple of screens on open, so if you see me sort of looking around, I'm not distracted. I'm just maybe looking at the questions just to see if anything pops up. But I'll probably answer them more in the sections that I mentioned around where we'll have a quick Q&A. Okay, so, sorry, I got a couple of screens. Okay. So I just want to get a little information from you guys before I get started, just to give me a little sense of where people are coming from. So let's see if I can get this to work. So the first question, I was just wondering if people have taken an online course before. Just a quick yes or no. All right, give the last person. Oh, good, everyone voted. Okay. So you can see from the results that it's pretty close with the people who have and the people who have not. So that's great. The people who have obviously will have a bit more experience in some of the components and can certainly help people who are new to it, but also walk everybody through the same information so you're all on the same page. But it's certainly good to know that people have a bit of experience in online. If you don't, again, not a problem. I'll kind of get you started. Okay, the next question is just wondered how many people, how much experience people have in the business world. So 0 to 1, which is basically your kind of maybe none, or 2 to 5, or 6 plus. Give people another second to vote. Great. So, all right, very good. So you can see from this that a lot of people have more than 6 years experience, which is great. Some people have 2 to 5, and then there's probably 1 or so folks who have got 0 to 1. I should also say that there's 11 people on this webinar today, and there's 26 in the program. So a little less than half are on the call today, which is great. So the fact that some people have experience is terrific, because what will happen is when you get into some of your discussions and stuff, which I'll go into a little more detail, those people obviously have got a lot more insights into their own experiences, their own their own experiences that they can then share with the classroom to sort of help them learn a bit more. So that's all good. All right, cool. So let's go back to my slide deck. Okay, perfect. So everybody should know this, but I just wanted to sort of start with just giving you a basic sense of how the course is in the program and how it'll flow. So we'll start with Introduction to Business, then Intro to Accounting, Marketing Fundamentals, HR Management, and then Project Management. And most of you should know this, and maybe you don't, but when we started this program, we asked our advisory board, people in the community like senior executives, what were some of the more important knowledge and skill areas people needed to work in business. And, excuse me, these were the basic ones that came up that were most important. So we certainly try to build a program that meets the needs of people in the industry, so that when you graduate from our program, you've got a credential, and you can then go back and add some value to the work world. With the knowledge that we offer in our programs, these are very hard skills, right? Understanding accounting, understanding marketing, understanding HR, project management, very hard skills. But if you've done any reading recently about trends in business, there's a real big shift towards the soft skills. And actually, LinkedIn just did a survey or analysis, I guess, of all the different job postings that they've seen posted to LinkedIn in 2018. And the #1 skill that people are looking for when hiring is creativity. So interesting enough that it's not a hard skill, it's a soft skill. So through the program, really think about what are some of those skills to try and better yourself. Communication skills, teamwork, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving. Those are the skills that people will probably ask you about in an interview, more so than tell me about what you know about marketing or about accounting or project management. Obviously, you need those skills as a baseline, but it's the soft skills that people are really looking for. So I just encourage everyone as you go through the program to really think about those soft skills. Maybe Google a job that might be a good fit for what you're hoping to do, and look at the sort of soft skills and make sure you practice those, because here's a safe place to do it, right? You get out into the real world, if you're not really that good at them, you can be in trouble. But here's a safe place. It's an educational institution. This is really where you should practice those things. Even if you're uncomfortable with them, best to practice them to sort of, improve your soft skills. So when you get to the real world, you can then be the master of it. Okay, so the other thing I want to mention about is just that this program is a cohort. So there are the 5 courses, and the same 26 people who were in the first class will be the same 26 people in the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Now, that's really nice, I think, from several levels. One being the fact that you get to sort of build some relationships, you can build some support, study groups, those kinds of things, and you get to know people's strengths and, maybe where they have some difficulty. So as a group, you can kind of, maximize people's strengths and try and minimize some of the things that they struggle with. So a real benefit, I think, of the program is the fact that you do this together, and you should hopefully be building those support networks. And on the flip side, when you actually finish and you're looking for maybe new work, you've got 26 people who you should know quite well at the end, who maybe work in a certain industry or work for a certain company, or can maybe give you some advice on how to get access to, whatever, more information in that industry. So again, use that as an advantage to try and, find ways to, find people to build relationships and network and those kinds of things. This program will have some group work. Now, each course is slightly different, so I can't speak to every single course, but there'll definitely be some group work. I know some people don't really like the group work. There's always that one guy who doesn't sort of pull his weight, or a woman. So in terms of just the group work, again, think about it as that soft skill of what can I bring to the group? what can I bring from a problem solving, from creativity, and also having those upfront conversations with the group members of, okay, guys, we all have to sort of equally share in the workload. Who's going to do what? How can we make sure that everyone's contributing? And what are you going to do if people are not contributing, right? Because working in groups, as many of you know, because you've been working in business, it's a reality. That's what happens in the real world when you're doing your day job. So if it's online, if it's in class, if it's the real world, it's just a part of, it's a part of how business operates. So working in groups and figuring out how to do that well is a real skill. So again, use that as your advantage. Test out things because it's a safe place to do it. There will be group discussions, which I'll talk more about when I get into the Moodle and show you the actual course, but there will be group discussions. So certainly keep in mind that the more you put into it, the more you get out. The group discussions are a way to kind of give people a voice, allow them to sort of share their knowledge, because some people maybe, as you may know from an in-class course, there's always a couple that dominate the conversation. With a group discussion, it just, on an online environment, it gives everybody a chance to speak. So people who maybe English isn't their first language, who are a little shy to kind of share because they're not sure what people will say about it, you can certainly write your post, think about it, ask a friend to review it, and then you hit the button to sort of share it with everybody else. So really important part of the course, and almost every course will have some component of a group discussion. I just want to talk a bit about academic integrity because this is coming up a lot lately, especially in our in-course courses, in-person courses. But certainly academic integrity is equally as important in an online environment. So obviously there's lots of work where no one's in front of you. You can actually access your textbooks. They're open book, those kinds of things, which is great. But there are other things where you are submitting work. And just as a side note, you have to submit your own work. So if you're not familiar with academic integrity, I certainly would hope people would Google the words, learn more about what it means to have academic integrity. But it basically means being honest, being respectful. It's not falsifying data. It's citing other people's work. You can't just copy something from the internet and put it in your paper and expect it, people to think that it's your words when they're not. So giving people credit for their other ideas. And this is also true with, assignments and quizzes. So, we would expect that people are not, sharing the quizzes with others, but obviously, it all goes back to integrity. And if you think about it, with the integrity, our certificates have integrity, which impacts you. So if people, get our certificates and at the end, they don't know anything because they've cheated their way through the program, well, that doesn't help you. It doesn't help us. And then our program loses its credibility in the real world because we don't have academic integrity. So it does impact you because you want to sort of show that to people when you're down your credential, and they're going to be like, yes, those people I know have a great understanding. They delve deep into the topic, and they can add value to my company. So I'll leave out with that. But if you have any questions, certainly reach out to your instructor, look on the outline, or just Google academic integrity. So I'll leave this slide maybe to the end. I'll come back to it. Just it's about the exams, but I'll sort of go back to that when I go through the course with you. But there are exams. They are proctored through an external or an external partner of ours called Examini. But I'll share more about that in a short while. I think everybody should know this. Okay, Jar, I see your question. I'll come back to it. Thanks. So I think most people should know this, but I'll just sort of repeat it in case you're not familiar. So our program is facilitated by an instructor. You're not doing it as a self-directed program. The instructor is going to be online pretty much every day, responding to questions, facilitating the discussion boards, sharing extra insights and articles and things like that. We sort of expect you to spend about 8 to 10 hours a week doing your work, and that includes textbook readings and discussion boards and your assignments and activities and all those sort of things. And again, one thing that's nice about the online is in terms of when you do that work, it's up to you. So there's nothing that's live. I should sort of flip through these. It's called asynchronous. So nothing is live. You won't be expected to be online Tuesday at 8 o'clock for some discussion board or any lecture-y kind of things. So when you do that work each week is really up to you. There are assignments, there are activities, there are exams. As I said, there are 26 students in the class, and you will have to get a textbook. So certainly I'll show you the textbook if you want to go do that now, but certainly you'll be required to purchase a textbook for almost, I think, every class. Okay, a couple more things, and then we'll jump to the Moodle. So at the end, you will get a certificate. I believe you're invited to our graduation. I think you are. I should probably double check that. I should know that. I think online students are invited to our graduation, and you will get a credential and an official grade report as well with your grades on it. Okay, so that takes me to the first half of the session. So there's a question from Jara, which is great. I will answer that. If anybody has any questions about any of this stuff I just talked about, send me a quick note. I'll answer it. Otherwise, I can jump into the Moodle portion. So just to answer the question. So the question was, and I think this goes kind of around to the discussion boards, but there's 26 students in class. And when there are discussions, we usually will probably, I haven't sort of seen how many groups we have. We can maybe try and look at that when we get into Moodle. But basically, for the discussions, we usually break the class into smaller groups. So you're not going to be having one large discussion with 26 students. We'll probably have either 2 or 3 groups so that it's more manageable for you. It's more manageable for the instructor. And again, it gives everybody really a chance to sort of shine and share and have a voice. So we had one discussion board with 26 people. You know, what color is the sky? You would get 25, it's blue. So having a smaller discussion allows people just to sort of interact a bit more and get to know people a bit better. So I think that answers your question, Jar. If not, let me know. Okay, doesn't look like there's any more questions, so let me jump to the other piece. Give me a second. Okay, so everybody should be able to see the website of the program, which is the Business Administration program, and everyone should have received as a welcome packet their username and password to log into Moodle. So you would go to login on our website. You guys would log in under the student portal. I'll go a different direction. I'll just sort of log in. And then you'll see there's sort of my account. And mine's going to be a little different from yours because you're a student, but there'll be some other resources here around York services and whatever. But if you click on the online learning environment Moodle, that would sort of get you into the actual Moodle site. So I'll click on courses. I've got obviously a whole bunch, so you'll just have the one, but I'll click on Business Administration. I'll click on Winter 19. I'll click on the online, and then you'll see your course. Oh, sorry, let me just change one setting so that okay, I just changed my setting to students so it looks a bit more like what you'll see. Okay, so this is what Moodle looks like. So again, if you've studied online, you're probably familiar with Blackboard or some other portal that other schools, or maybe it's York, has used. So this is sort of our version of it. So when you get into the course, you will notice there's some tabs here at the top and at the bottom. So we'll click on the first one, which says Course Overview. So if you scroll down, you can sort of see there's a welcome lecture instructor, Jeff May, who is excellent, one of my best instructors. I've known him for many, many years. So he's the first instructor for the first course, so you can read his little bio. There's a little description, there's the outcomes, a bit about the format, and there's the textbook. So if you're not sure what the textbook is, there you go. And you can certainly buy that from our bookstore. You can certainly go to Amazon, those kinds of places. It shows you the marking breakdown. So there's participation in case discussions, there's some quizzes, there's a midterm, and there's a final. So as I said, the midterm is more of a open book kind of thing. It's not proctored by Examiny, I don't believe. The final exam is proctored by a company called Examiny, which I mentioned earlier. So there is a fee for you to participate in that if you decide to do it through them. The other option is you can come to campus and you can sit here, and there's no charge for that at all. So if you are sort of local, that may make better sense for you. Otherwise, Examine charges a fee, and we don't charge anything on top of that, but there is a fee for Examine to proctor the exam. So the quizzes are also, and the midterm and the final and those kinds of things, they're timed. So once you start that quiz, you have, let's say, an hour to finish it. You have to finish it in that seating. You can't sort of stop it, go have lunch, go take the dog for a walk, and come back. Unless you do all that within an hour, which is fine. But once you start the activity, the assessment, you have to finish it. All right. The midterm, sorry, it's a group. I sort of was reading it wrong. It's a group assignment. So the midterm is a group assignment. So you can kind of learn more about what that looks like once you get into the course. And then, as I said, there's the final exam, which is comprehensive. All right. Here's some information about the online discussions. There's a schedule of what you'll be studying, when the quizzes are, when the midterm is due, all that good stuff, and the exam. And we'll send you information on the exam, so don't sort of stress about it at the moment. Diane, who's the program coordinator, will sort of be in touch, and she'll share more information about how that works, how Examine works, how you go and schedule the exam, the dates that it's open, and how long you have to complete it, all that good stuff. So she'll share that, so don't worry about it at the moment, but just know that that is something that you need to be aware of. So you don't need to worry about a student card for the actual exam. If you do it through Examine, I should probably explain how Examine works. So Examine works where they will basically take control of your computer. So you have to have a webcam. You log into the Examine sort of site, and then they will do a check where they'll confirm your who you are, your license, a passport, that kind of thing. I suppose a school ID would work, but I just don't know for sure if Examine accepts that. But for sure, your passport, your license, any official documentation. They'll ask you to kind of scan the room, so they'll take your sort of webcam and you'll sort of scan the room to make sure there's no sheets on the wall with information, all that good stuff. And then they're going to be watching you the entire time you're taking your exam. So they're watching you, they're watching your screen, they're recording it. They'll sometimes, I've had cases where they'll red flag sort of students that they feel are sort of maybe looking elsewhere, or they're not doing something that they're supposed to. They'll flag that. The instructor and I will view it, and then we'll determine if that's considered academic integrity, and if it is, there's a chance you may fail the exam, or obviously get a mark down on the exam or the assignment, whatever the case may be. But that's how that works. So I think I answered your question. Okay, Brenda, thanks. There's the rules and regulations around the grades, so you can kind of see that. Okay. So that's sort of all basically like the course outline. The next tab is the course materials. So the way this works is there are 8 modules. We'll click on the first one. And you can see that there's a little overview, there's the outcomes, there's information on what you need to read and watch, there's information on the cases. Here are some discussions. So from the textbook, there's some activities and stuff which you would review. And then in a small group, you would be actually sharing that with each other and then posting that where Jeff would then comment and kind of make sure you're on the right path, et cetera, et cetera. There's just some information about the midterm assignment. There's also, yes, so in this course, there's 13 minutes of a narrated PowerPoint presentation. So I think it's Jeff who actually did that. So you'd kind of watch that. It would sort of be like the lecture part of the course, and you would learn more insights and things like that. You can also download just the deck if you want to take notes on it. So that's kind of how that works. So that's sort of a similar, as you go through the course, each module is pretty similar in terms of the outcomes, what to read, discussions, that kind of stuff. And then if you go to the discussion board, you'll actually see all the different discussions. So in the course news and announcements, this is where the instructor would post a little note. Oh, look at that. You guys are already on top of it. Super. Look at that. So this is where the instructor posts a note about what's happening or something to be aware of. Obviously, there's 11 students who've already posted an introduction, so you can go in there. You can sort of see what other people have said. It's always nice to sort of comment back to other people. So let's just say that we can look at Jaros. So Jaros went to Queens, studied poli-sci, wants to become a lawyer. That's great. So maybe you sort of comment and said, oh, I also went to Queens, or hey, I once thought about being a lawyer. So again, this goes back to sort of building a community and building some relationships with other students. So it's just nice to kind of comment on that, just to give people a sense of, hey, we're in this together. Let's build some relationships, and you can kind of, just make some connections along the way. So awesome, you guys have already done that. So I'm kind of glad to see that. So we can go back to, yeah. Oh, sorry, let's go back to. So again, you can see that each week they're like those case discussions that you'll be talking through with the other students. Sorry, I went. So I'll click on the assessments now. So you can see from the assessments, this is where you would submit your midterm. This is where your quizzes will be. This is where the final exam will be. So this is where you'd sort of start that. So if I click on quiz 1 as an example, you can see the dates that the quiz will run. You've got 2 hours to complete it. And again, this is sort of the date that it closes. But just remember, once you start that quiz, you have to finish the quiz in the same seating. All right, so that's really important. Even though you've got from Friday to Sunday to complete it, you still need to go in and actually finish it in that one sitting. All right. Again, this is like the Dropbox. Yeah, so that hasn't been updated yet, so we'll leave that back. If you need to contact us for anything, here's a good little cheat sheet. So many of you may have sort of been in touch with Diane. She's the program coordinator. So CP Help is the best place to connect with her about transfers, schedules, obviously not room assignments. It's an online course, textbooks, any other sort of logistics around the program. We have a really very attentive technical support. So if you have questions like, hey, I can't log in, or these links aren't working, or whatever the case may be, Moodle issues, our itscs@yorku.ca. They'll respond to all those. There's Jeff's LinkedIn if you want to read more about Jeff and to connect with him. Our registration coordinator around tax receipts, academic records, which are like grade reports, your payments, those kinds of things. And if you need to talk to me, then there's my email. And again, if you've got feedback on the instructor, you need accommodations, anything that really is about the success of the program, that's the stuff that I can certainly be more helpful with. If it's more administrative of the actual course and the sort of back-end stuff, that's sort of Diane. And obviously the instructor is the best person for most things because they're the owner of the content and the course. Okay. So that's kind of a quick little overview of the course. So I kind of will pose any other questions for me. There's been a couple questions which have been great. Otherwise, it seems like people have already kind of found their way to the discussion boards and the postings, which is great. So hopefully you've sort of navigated your way around the system a bit. I don't see any questions coming. I'll certainly hang on for as long as people need me to answer questions. Jeff will certainly post a little note to welcome everybody. If not today, I assume we'll do it today. Oh yeah, great question, William. So William's asking, how do you know which group you're in and when to join the group? So the groups are kind of preset. So sorry, I get my clicker here. Let me go back to my normal role for a sec. Yeah, it's possible that, let me go back to Diane and just double check to make sure the groups have been set up. I don't see the groups here. You see on the left-hand side, I got more functionality with being administrator of the course. I don't see what the groups are. So let me go back to Diane, but I'll have her post a little note so people know who's in what group for the different discussion boards. And I'll ask her to do that today. So sorry about that, but I don't see it. So maybe I'm just missing it, but I'll double check. But usually if it's set up, there's a group sort of tab. So maybe it just hasn't been done yet. So I'll follow with her right after this, and I'll sort of, she can report back. And she'll post something to the news an announcement section. So you would get that announcement as an email, and it would go here. So this is, it's nothing there, but this is where that information would sit. Okay, sorry, William, that's a great question. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you on that. Thanks, William. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Again, I'm happy to stay on as long as people need. Again, the goal of this was really just to kind of give you a general insight into the program, some best practices with being online, some just general things about being in the course and the program, and then just giving you a quick little tour so it's not so unfamiliar when you go in and try and navigate around. Is the exam open book? Mohammed's asking if the exam is open book. Honestly, Mohammed, I don't know. I don't know all the details of every single course. You know, that's more the instructor's role. I don't get too involved with the actual details of the exams. I mean, I kind of have a look at them when they're first created, but I don't know 100%. It's a great question for Jeff. So when Jeff comes on board, if you guys go to the, let's go back for a second. So let's go to discussions. So if you guys have questions, this general course questions box here. So you can just hit on add a new discussion topic. So we'll just do it now. So I'll just put final. Sorry, I'm trying to, okay, final. Okay, so I just asked a simple question. Okay, so once you sort of do that, and then you sort of hit post to forum, it takes actually, I think, a half hour when I do it because I'm an administrator. It just allows me to edit it as the administrator. So when you post it, I think it's a little more immediate. Anyway, so that's kind of where that would get posted. Jeff will obviously then respond, and everyone will see the response. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Okay. You're welcome, Patricia. Excellent. Anyway, so again, this is where you put all your general course questions around anything that has to do with the course, and Jeff will be, monitoring this on a daily basis, and we're obviously responding to all of your questions. Okay. So again, you'll see all in 30 minutes. You'll see this posting pop up in the course. All right. Thanks, Brenda. I'm glad. Okay. Any other questions? Shout. I'm happy to answer. Oh, you're welcome, Mohammed. Yeah, so Mohammed, check back to the discussion board. Once Jeff's in there, he'll respond to it. Okay, well, if nobody else has any more questions, then I will sign off. So again, if you have any questions, let's go back to the page. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to Diane under the CP Help at York U email. You certainly have my email, but if it's sort of more about the course and you're being successful in the course. And otherwise, I just wish you great success. Good luck in the next short while when you finish your studies. And have a great day. Thanks very much. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Van. Thanks, William. You're welcome.